Well, here we are at the end of week 3. You can see that things are looking a little bit different below ground. At this point, a lot of the work this last week has been saw cutting, and you can see that we had to cut through a good layer of cement. You can see here we've got some of the cement that was poured before the tile went on. And then below that, we have another layer of cement, which is likely what used to hold in there that hardwood floor that we talked about last week. And then we get down to the soil. After they got everything all cut out in here, then much of this space had looked kind of like these trenches on the side here. So it just was filled with some dirt. And now we've exposed foundation there. I guess that's like a footer or something like that. You can see that we've got markings in place for kind of where walls are going to be and the center of the lift and elevator. And so this edge here is where we will have the drain tile. So there'll be a pipe. As the plumber comes in this next week, we'll lay that pipe. We've made some more progress this week. You can see that over here there is the pit that has been dug for the sump pump that will go in. And we have the pipe with the kind of the protective netting around it. And that is also in a bed of that gravel. That is going to be where the drain tile is going to be running into the sump pit. And you can see that that's going to wrap all the way around the work area and go to where the future office will be. And then over on this side, it's also going to go over here, and it's going to go underneath the tower and into the current bathroom. We also got the old catch basin pit removed and got everything all plumbed up, connecting into the existing system, cast iron, and that's where it will be connecting to the upstairs bathroom as well as the sump pump and a clean out there, which is exciting. Over this way, we got some plumbing work done on the ceiling. So the large pipe that was wrapped in that white insulation has now been rerouted so that it doesn't go directly through where the elevator shaft and stairwell will be. As you can see that's been connected around. Here we are, end of week 5. And you're looking at some of the items that will be used to build the elevator shaft. Once we get that shaft built, then we can put the order in for the elevator. And so it's exciting to see this on site. You'll also notice that since our last video, we've also completed some of the piping work. So that's that black pipe that goes up to the radiator in the fellowship hall. But probably the most dramatic of changes is going to be behind this plastic curtain. So let's head around here so you can see where we're at. And as you can see, we had the concrete floor poured this last week. And so now you can even more clearly see where the structural supports will be. So there will be one right here, and then there will be another on either side of these boxes. Those are the kind of like bolts that are sticking up through the ground there. Now this box is what is creating the elevator shaft. And so the type of elevator that we are going to be putting in is called a Lula. So it's a limited use, limited application elevator, which means it needs a little bit smaller of a elevator pit than if you had a hydraulic lift. Nevertheless, it does have a pit, and then you can also see in the back corner there, that's a little depression that will be where a small sump pump will be in case any water were to get into the elevator shaft, then it could be pumped out. In terms of water and sump pumps, over there on the ground, you can see that underneath that cover is where our new sump pit will be. And so if you remember in previous weeks, we had the plastic PVC piping that was running in a bed of gravel. And so what has now been put on the wall is that black plastic layer is part of the system, the drain tile system, so that if water were to seep in through the walls, it would get caught by that plastic and then it would go down the walls and then go into that bed of gravel, ultimately into the PVC pipe and into this sump pit, which then will eventually have a pump on it that will pump it up overhead and it will connect in to this stack over here. So we got a clean out right there that goes down into our sewer line, and that is all prepped and ready to go for that sump pump. So you can see all the new concrete that's been poured there. And as we come around, just so you can see it a bit more, coming into the space, you'll actually see another stack coming up out of the ground. And so this stack right here will eventually be inside the new wall. So you can kind of see, if we zoom out a little bit, that across from that is where that structural support will go over there to the left. And so as that goes up into the wall, that's actually where it's going to connect to the new bathroom, which will be directly above these pipes and those lights. And so that's where the ADA accessible first floor bathroom will be. As we look up overhead a bit more, you can also see that we were able to get that roof closed up last week, which is great after all the snow that we've recently had. And so that's closed up, which now they can move forward with any insulation that's needed, as well as getting that patched up so we can begin putting in the elevator and the bathroom. So stay tuned for updates in the weeks ahead, but we are moving right along and it's good to have the floor poured back in place and we're looking forward to building up some walls in the weeks ahead.